Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best things about this channel is that what the New York Times and the Washington Post and what the Democratic Party feels is just absolutely horrendous. I absolutely think this headline is the best thing ever. But I'll read it in the way a person who's voting for Madam Cyberhack in 2020 because she's running. Clinton is going to run and win the nomination, the Democratic nomination. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. The former vice president is basically not spending any more money on online advertising, which is absolutely hilarious a year before the election for a frontrunner. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Anyway, Clinton is going to be the nominee. She's going to run. The whole thing has been a farce and a theatrical performance from day one. Now you have the Washington Post. This, ladies and gentlemen, is breaking news. Barr personally asked foreign officials to aid inquiry into John Brennan and James Comey's activities in 2016. What? This is fantastic, by the way. Yeah, guess what? You had unelected officials who, under the pretext of alleged national security concerns, which just happened to correlate with everything alleged by the Democratic Party and people they outsourced like CrowdStrike and a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton, just so happens that these unelected people furthered the political goals of Trump's political rivals. Yeah, so everything they accuse Trump of doing, actually, it's the other way around. The notion that Russia would be so petrified of any Democrat when under President Obama's tenure, under Hillary Clinton's tenure, 20% of U.S. uranium capacity was, he didn't veto the sale. Now, of course, Clinton didn't wrap the 20% of U.S. uranium capacity in a bow and give, here you go, this is because I own this. No, because all the fact checkers are like, she couldn't stop it. It's not her fault. The issue is, the narrative is that they were so petrified of Clinton that they did everything possible to get Trump. There's the evidence, it contradicts that. The evidence shows that they would actually want Democrats. William D. Campbell, somebody that should be called a word that they're claiming some operative is, testified before numerous congressional committees stating the following, that Russian lobbyists were giving money and bragging about their influence over the Clinton Foundation and President Obama's administration to greenlight the uranium sale. But see, it's not just that. Boeing got a $3 billion deal in Russia when Secretary of State Clinton was in office. She was America's top diplomat. She had private servers with top secret intel. That investigation is ongoing, renewed, because 130 people actually committed violated legal statutes by emailing her top secret intel or emailing her classified data. But anyway, Barr personally asked foreign officials. Good. If you have people like Andrew McCabe, if you have, Peter Strzok asked foreign officials as well. He flew to London under Andrew McCabe's direction. The FBI asked foreign officials as well. Okay, Joseph Mifsud, Alexander Downer, these people were asked by America's elite law enforcement agencies and intelligence agencies. So let's get that straight. The New York Times is hilarious. It's basically a Democratic Party newsletter, as is like CNN and the Washington Post, but it's not enough, because today on Twitter, I don't have a Twitter account, but I follow what's going on. People were up in arms. Oh my goodness! What did one of the pundits on CNN say about derogatory about the Golden Muumuu? How dare he say that? And then, of course, Kamala Harris today is like, oh, Clinton has done so much. And then she writes, but my emails. It's email servers with top secret intelligence. Don't worry. If they want to be, coy and snarky, it ain't going to work. The vice is actually closing in. It's going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years, but there is a political and legal vice. You can't overtly engage in criminal activity and just, be snarky and try to think you're snarky and get away with it. But anyway, this is just like an hour ago. Attorney General William P. Barr held private meetings overseas with foreign intelligence officials, seeking their help in a Justice Department inquiry that President Trump's hope will discredit the U.S. intelligence agency's examination of possible connections between Russia and members of the Trump campaign during the 2016 election. Yes! This is why William Barr is better than Sessions. I can't believe what he's doing. I can't believe what Barr's doing. When I was at the helm, it's true they had to put about 10 cushions and pillows so I could reach the desk from my chair. But when I was at the helm at the Justice Department, we were doing special, wonderful things, like investigating the president based on a Steele dossier. And I formed a special counsel because Comey's memos called for it. His memos written on parchment that were complete and utter fabrications. And now you have Big Barr. I wonder how many hamburgers and French fries and, look at him. He doesn't keep himself in shape like I do. I'm on the elliptical every day. But Trumpy didn't want me. No, he wanted somebody who ate fast food like him. Ever wonder why the White House under Trump gives people, hamburgers and Burger King and McDonald's? Maybe because he's cheap, and maybe because he's unhealthy. Anyway, I would never stoop so low as to speak to a foreign official who helped the Democratic Party try to undermine our democracy by fabricating a really ridiculous, nonsensical narrative that Trump worked with Russia to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Well, boo-hoo, Bernie. That's all we talk about. Get over it, Bernard Sanders. You lost. You lost. Your Bernie bros are burning everything down. Burning down the house. Anyway, oh my God. Anyway, trust my plan. This is the best because Barr's personal involvement. Meanwhile, all they did was reach out to the Ukraine, the DNC. They tried to get a Manafort ledger. They used a dossier purchased by... She literally purchased a dossier. Clinton did with money funneled through her law firm. This was all with foreign intelligence. There's not one shred of U.S. intelligence regarding any of this. Because the ODNI and DHS report says, you can't blame us. We have CrowdStrike. We're just going to indict people on CrowdStrike. Not anything we've gathered ourselves, because it's all nonsense and we don't want to be sued. Barr's personal involvement is likely to stoke further criticism from Democrats pursuing impeachment, that he is helping the Trump administration use executive branch powers to augment investigations aimed primarily at the president's adversaries. No. The president's adversaries went after Trump. They fabricated nonsense, and they utilized government agencies to justify their fabricated nonsense. Then Trump had the audacity to say, hey, wait a second, you're setting me up. Then they said, oh my God, you're obstructing our attempt to oust you. Now he's finding out the full extent of what they actually did, and that I explain in the Federalist, and my article is below in the pinned comment, by the way. I have 50 plus, or about 50 segments on my playlist. I predicted Clinton will run past 2 years on this channel. I'm the only person in all of media for 2 years to see this, to accurately predict what's taking place. Not about prediction. It's just I'm a former Democrat, former biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. The unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Now I'm a Trump supporter, of course, voting for Trump in 2020. He's a great president. Record low Black and Latino unemployment. Actually, the unemployment rate for Hispanic and Latino men is 3.1%, 3.7% nationally. And First Step Act, peace between North and South Korea, the beginning of a détente between North and South Korea, 500,000 manufacturing jobs, GDP, wages up. You can just go on just do a little research on what Trump has accomplished. Addressing the $400 billion trade imbalance with China, whereas Democrats basically are too cowardly to address that. So, anyway, he's a great president. The issue here is that William Barr and John Durham are on the trail. They're on the scent. They're basically, they're going to find out everything that happened. They're going to find out everything that happened. And it's like Democrats are like, no, you can't do this. You can't find out everything that took place. Why would you investigate the fact that, I write about this in the Federalist, 18 U.S. Code, the 371 statute. It's right there. It's right there, people. It's in the pinned comment and also in the description of every segment I do. I am the only person, in terms of that, there are a couple people who have addressed this, but I wrote a whole article, and Rush Limbaugh shared one of my articles, and that's below in the pinned comment in the Federalist, that basically all of this traveled through the Golden Moo-Moo. Clinton had basically a role in every single, whether it's the Steele dossier, whether it's CrowdStrike outsourced by Democrats. So Biden's campaign is done. Well, we can go on forever. Let me just read this. But a high-level Justice Department focus on intelligence operatives' conduct will likely cheer Trump and other conservatives for whom, quote, investigate the investigators has become a rallying cry. This is hilarious. They're like, how dare you investigate our pristine investigators? Don't you know we're the government? Yeah, well, Trump can't even put a conversation he has with a world leader on a secure government server. That's like a big cover-up for, But Clinton's like, what, you mean with a cloth? And nobody brings it up. Don't worry, she's running again. And we're just waiting. Golden Moo-Moo. We're just waiting. Take your time. It's not like, I don't know. The whole planet knows what's going on. Yeah, Biden's going to win the nomination because his because there's such grassroots support. Oh, yeah, Warren's going to win the nomination because she fails her DNA test. No one has brought that up yet. Trump would eviscerate her on stage every debate. He probably wouldn't talk about anything else but that. Could you imagine? The Democrats don't have anyone else. They don't have anyone else. And they don't have anyone else who can raise money. This is all like a theatrical performance. They don't have a political party. They have corrupt intel agency chiefs. They have a media that's basically, the media is basically an advocacy group for the Democratic Party. That's it. It's an advocacy group for the Democratic Party. It is not, American media today is not composed of journalists who are just interested in the truth. The vast majority are basically Democratic operatives, essentially. How many people wearing Make America Great Again hats going to work at the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC. I mean, how many you would not survive your job. But anyway, Barr has voiced his own concern, telling lawmakers in April, "Oh my God, surveillance did occur." And then you have one congresswoman, one person in Congress. This is hilarious. "You're not saying there was surveillance, are you?" "Yes, there was surveillance. We just have to find out if it was legal." "Well, you're not saying that anything illegal happened." Yeah, maybe." "What?" "No." I love that they look at Comey and Strzok and McCabe. They're like, these are paragons of virtue. What could possibly go wrong? How could you dare, accuse them of wrongdoing? Yeah, Barr's looking at other countries and finding out what's going on. Why do you think he has to go to these other countries? Because the Democrats did. And they had Strzok and McCabe and Clapper and Brennan, whether it was through a signed note, "Please go do this for us," or it just happened to coincidentally coincide with all of their talking points. It was Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Clapper and Brennan, all of these people who utilized information from foreign sources. The entire Trump-Russia narrative was set up because you had a dossier, you had hearsay allegations from Mifsud and Downer. Isn't it interesting how, Nadler and Schiff never asked to have Mifsud and Downer testify or Glenn Simpson testify publicly? It was Republicans who forced some of these people or all these people to testify. But anyway, Barr has already made overtures to British intelligence officials. And last week, the Attorney General traveled to Italy, where he and Durham met senior Italian government officials. Yes. And Barr asked the Italians to assist Durham. Okay. That's a great one. I got to do an episode on that, a segment on that. It was Barr's first trip to Italy to meet intelligence officials. So this is Mifsud. This is the guy that, this is a grandiose, you're talking about the most corruption. This is the most corruption that, this is the most corruption this is the most corruption that's taken place in U.S. politics that hasn't even been touched by the New York Times or the Washington Post because they're part of it. So it's like, if the tables were turned, oh my God, could you imagine? But here, White House spokesman Hogan Gidley said, that's a great name, Hogan Gidley. "I'm old enough to remember when Democrats actually wanted to find out what happened in the 2016 election. The Democrats clearly don't want the truth to come out anymore, as it might hurt them politically. But this call relates to DOJ inquiry publicly announced months ago to uncover exactly what happened. The DOJ simply requested the president provide introductions to facilitate that ongoing inquiry." So, Justice Department, Mr. Durham is gathering information from numerous sources, including a number of foreign countries. At Attorney General Barr's request, the president has contacted other countries to ask them to introduce the Attorney General and Mr. Durham to appropriate officials. It's happening, people. I mean, let's put it this way. Everything that I've been saying on this channel is slowly but surely taking place. One way or another, everything that I'm saying on this channel, everything that I've been saying in my writing is taking place. The Democratic Party, ladies and gentlemen, when Clinton loses again to Trump, is going to not only be obliterated, it'll take the entire left and media and even social media with them. Okay, these are when the smartest people in the room realize, finally, look in the mirror and say, we're not the smartest people in the room. It'll be a wake-up call. Now, there will still, and I don't think, I'm not saying that I don't know if the majority of Democrats might come to this conclusion after losing again. But more and more people will realize eventually that, hey, we have been led astray. And it was the unbridled ambition of Madam Cyberhack. But it's not just Clinton's fault when it does happen. It's people who would people who would allow and stop at nothing. That's the difference. The average Trump supporter would not allow President Trump to act like Democrats. Democrats fabricate. They think Trump is corrupt because the Washington Post, the New York Times, and CNN and Democratic pundits, they have fabricated a reality. They don't. Trump hasn't even. Where are the money flows? The money flows are with Clinton Foundation. You have all of these pay-to-play schemes. It's so overt. Nobody questions the motivation. Nobody questions the motivation of Biden. Like, well, yeah, it was a quid pro quo, but it wasn't for personal gain. It's like, no, Giuliani has all the evidence regarding that. And in terms of, they fabricated this whole Trump-Russia myth. He didn't work with Russia to hack the DNC. The U.S. government never even looked at DNC servers, and every article trying to refute Trump's claim, which is accurate, which is what I've been saying forever, that the United States government had to look at the evidence. Well, we have no clue if CrowdStrike gave the evidence to the United States government. We have no clue what CrowdStrike gave. So, Trump still complains frequently that those involved in the investigation of his campaign should be charged with crimes, asserting the FBI search for possible election season collusion between Russia and Trump campaign officials was a witch hunt spurred by agents and bureaucrats. Peter Strzok said we will stop Trump. What more do you want, Washington Post? If the tables were turned, we will stop Clinton. It would be never. They would tattoo it. They would tattoo it on their foreheads if it was the other way around. If Peter Strzok said we will stop Clinton, oh my God, they would never. Give me your thoughts below. They're talking about Mifsud. They're talking about Downer. The reason that here's something to help the wonderful journalists at the Washington Post. The reason that Barr is going to other countries is because Democrats did, and intel officials beholden to Democrats did. And the U.S. Code 371 statute is about intent to deceive. It's not just about intent to deceive. It's about intent to defraud the United States government. They knew what they were doing. They knew there was nothing there, yet they still pursued this Pandora's box of nonsense. And then they say Trump is corrupt. Trump is the least corrupt. Of all the people in this, there's the least amount of corruption in Trump's administration because everything that they are accusing Trump of never pans out. What they accuse Clinton of actually happened. Then they say, well, she didn't mean to do it. If it was anyone but Comey, even people, he lied under oath regarding this, James Baker, the top FBI legal counsel, wanted to indict Clinton. So when people say to me, up until the last moment where he gave his ridiculous speech, Comey. So when people say to me, the FBI's top legal counsel was agreeing with me. So anyway, give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Biden is not even advertising online. It's kind of hilarious. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very, very much. It's happening, people. Thank you.